The movie opens with a legendary murderer, feared so much that people had started calling him a living monster. He had become infamous for one horrifying reason: no matter how many times people tried, killing him was impossible. Determined to uncover the secret behind his resilience, the US military finally captures him. But because no prison could contain him for long, scientists at a high-security research facility decide to freeze his body with specialized chemicals. A guard is stationed nearby to keep watch. The guard, unsettled by the killer's unblinking stare, eventually drapes a cover over him. Elsewhere in the facility, a scientist named Rowan voices her concerns. She believes that keeping this monster alive is reckless. Sooner or later, more people will die. She argues with her superior, insisting they should execute him now while they have the chance. But the head scientist dismisses her concerns, explaining that the man's unnatural healing abilities could revolutionize warfare. If they could replicate his rapid recovery and graft it onto soldiers, their army would become unstoppable. To kill him without harnessing that gift would be a waste. Determined, the lead scientist enters Jason's chamber with several armed guards. But when they pull the sheet away, they're horrified. The figure beneath isn't Jason at all, but one of their own men. Before they can react, Jason emerges from the shadows. What follows is a slaughter. Bullets rain on him, but they do nothing. Using the very chains meant to restrain him, Jason strangles one soldier while carving another apart with his machete. In moments, the room is painted red. The terrified scientist flees, only to be struck down by Jason's thrown blade. Outside, Rowan hears the chaos and prepares to rush in. Suddenly, the door bursts open and a mortally wounded guard collapses at her feet, gasping that she must run. Jason is hunting her. Instead, Rowan steels herself, grabs his weapon, and unleashes a barrage of bullets. Her courage drives Jason back until he stumbles into the cryopod. She slams the lock shut, but before the seal is secure, Jason's blade punches through, stabbing into her. The pod hisses to life, releasing freezing mist. Jason is engulfed in ice, but the blade damage causes the gas to spill into the facility. Sirens wail, doors seal, and before Rowan can escape, the chamber fills with frost. She too is frozen, trapped alongside the very monster she tried to destroy. Centuries pass. Earth is ruined, poisoned by its own people, and humanity migrates to a new home, Earth 2. Almost 5 centuries later, a research crew ventures back to the abandoned planet in search of knowledge. Deep beneath the ruins, they stumble upon the cryolab, and inside, the preserved bodies of Jason and Rowan. To their shock, Rowan's body is still alive, perfectly preserved by the freezing process. The team excitedly transports both of them aboard their starship. When the pod is opened, Rowan's weapon slips out and severs a crew member's arm in one swift slice. Screaming, he collapses, but they stabilize him using advanced nanotechnology, a living medical cocoon that regrows limbs. Rowan is placed on a nanotech bed, her body slowly returning to life. Meanwhile, Jason is delivered to another lab, where scientists marvel at his physiology. His brain is tiny, yet somehow fuels the unstoppable body that had once terrified an entire world. One researcher, curious, removes his mask. What she sees makes her recoil. His face is a grotesque ruin, melted and scarred beyond recognition. Shaken, she replaces the mask and continues her study. Moments later, Rowan awakens. Panicked and disoriented, she lashes out, striking one of the scientists before they calm her and reveal the truth. Nearly 500 years have passed. News of their discovery is sent to Earth 2, but the response is disappointing. Reviving ancient people is routine, there's no profit in it. Jason, however, is another matter. He was a legend, an unkillable killer. His body might still hold value. Back in the lab, Jason lies on a nanotech table. His fingers twitch. The scientist overseeing him ignores her instinct, until it's too late. Jason snaps to life. He grabs her, plunges her face into liquid nitrogen until it freezes solid, then smashes her skull against a counter, shattering it like glass. Once again armed with his machete, he resumes his bloody work. Panic spreads as the crew realizes the monster is loose. Armed soldiers attempt to stop him, but one by one they fall. Jason even finds his way into a virtual reality training chamber, where at first the soldiers think he's just part of the simulation, until they start dying for real. The captain tries to capture Jason with a mechanical hook, briefly restraining him, but Jason breaks free, massacres more soldiers, and finally kills the captain himself. With the ship heavily damaged, the survivors turn to escape shuttles. But Jason sabotages one, sending it crashing back into the mothership and crippling the vessel's systems. With only minutes before total destruction, Rowan and the survivors scramble. An engineer works to repair a shuttle while another enhances KM-14, a combat android, outfitting her with new weapons. When Jason attacks again, KM-14 meets him in battle. She unloads a barrage of gunfire, knocking him back again and again. For the first time, Jason falters. But victory is short-lived. Thrown onto another nanotech bed, Jason is reconstructed, only this time, the machines rebuild him with cybernetic enhancements. Metal replaces flesh. Jason is reborn as something beyond human, a mechanical horror with strength greater than ever. The survivors prepare charges to detach the final chamber of the ship. Just as they finish, Jason finds them. KM-14 confronts him again, but this time he tears through her in a single strike. The others stare in terror. Just as Jason closes in, the half-dead captain, clinging to life, launches himself at Jason. In one last act of defiance, he grapples with the monster and hurls them both into space. Locked together, they plummet toward Earth-2's atmosphere, burning like meteors as they fall. Inside the detached chamber, the survivors drift safely into the void. On Earth-2, by a tranquil lake, a young couple notices a fiery object streaking through the sky. It splashes into the water nearby. Smiling, they decide to investigate. The camera sinks beneath the lake's surface, where Jason's scorched, metallic mask lies at the bottom, waiting.